This video is on the engineering design process we went through to make our fabric bucket.
For our fabric bucket, we were brainstorming and doing research for a few weeks. This was one of our ideas to make a backpack.
Our ideas included rubber sealant, minimal seams, a flap to cover the top, a polyurethane coating, Vaseline, hot glue, and braided straps. Here we're putting rubber sealant on the fabric in the free expression tunnel. Next we put on polyurethane over the rubber sealant.
For our first prototype, we simplified this idea to a basic bucket to make it easier to sew. Here the bucket has pins in it so that it is easier to sew.
This is our initial water test without sewing after sealant and polyurethane. We found that if you rub the fabric from underneath, you could feel the water leaking through. We needed to do more to waterproof the fabric.
The next idea was laminating the fabric. We thought that a plastic covering, like iron-on laminate, would be a sure-proof way to keep water in. This ended poorly. We did not read the instructions completely and ended up getting plastic on the hot iron. Looking back, Vaseline was a bad idea. This idea came to mind because of its hydrophobic qualities, but this only created a very greasy exterior.
Here we are folding the fabric so that they know where to sew. The makerspace was very helpful in teaching us how to sew when none of us have ever done it before.
First prototype test goes well at first, but after 60 milliliters the bucket begins to leak. We pour out the water and head back to the drawing board.
After this first test, we found out that the needle holes in the corner of the bucket were making it leak. Our solution was to attempt to seal the needle holes with green laminate patches.
Our third design challenge was when a hole was accidentally ironed into the bottom of the bucket. So we scrapped that prototype and started over with fresh material.
Prepping the second bucket, we definitely knew not to include Vaseline, but we also didn't include some of the other waterproofing techniques. We decided to just include the laminate because it was straightforward to apply.
Our second prototype is finally done and we go outside DHL to test it. Devin pours in the water and we get to about 3 water bottles until we see leaking in the very middle of the bucket. To patch up this weak spot, we are going to iron on another patch of laminate to the middle section of the bucket.
We unfortunately did not meet the requirements at FEDD and weren't counted in the scoring, as our bucket did not hold the full gallon for 1 minute. However, the event was overall a great learning experience.
Here's some advice for the upcoming freshmen.
Make sure to get your materials early, especially if you're buying online or from Amazon. You want to give your team ample time to get supplies.
Always keep it simple. You only have 2 months to brainstorm, prototype, and test your product, so don't go overboard.
Start testing early. If you take a lot of time to make your first prototype, you won't have enough time to test and make a second one if needed.
Make sure to meet often with your FED group so that you stay on the same page and can work together to fix upcoming problems.